From the campus of Middle Tennessee State University, this is Close Up with MTSU President Sidney Mcphee. A 60-minute community dialogue featuring your phone calls and emails about the issues that matter. Now let's get connected. Live from Studio 1C at MTSU's nationally recognized College of Mass Communication, here's the student host of Close Up, Ashley Ball.
Hi there and welcome to Close Up live from the MTSU campus. We're glad you're with us tonight and we hope you get involved in the program by calling us at 1-877-596-0080 or by email at closeup@mtsu.edu. We also have a live in-studio audience with us tonight and we encourage you to get involved by raising your hands. Laura Roberts is in the audience and will make her way around and we'll be happy to get to all of your questions. It's now my pleasure to welcome the star of our show, MTSU President Sidney Mcphee. Dr. Mcphee, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here tonight.
You're welcome, Ashley. It's good to be here.
We are thrilled. Well, as you know, our semester is winding down. I've almost completed my first year at college. That's an accomplishment. Spring is here. In fact, it was registration time for returning students. I registered this morning. That also means that incoming freshmen have some big decisions to make.
Absolutely. I hope your registration went well.
It did. Good. I love Pipeline. It's wonderful on the computer.
Great.
That's for sure. Now, MTSU is home to more students from the Tennessee Lottery Scholarship than any other Tennessee school. How has this affected our enrollment thus far, and how do you think it will affect it in the future?
Well, I think it has had an impact on our university. We have developed about 2 years ago an enrollment management plan that calls for a managed growth of our freshman class, about 3%. When I became president 4 years ago, we were growing at about a rate of 7% a year. That's about 1,600 students. Clearly, with the resource constraints that we have experienced, lack of dollars coming from the state, we could not really sustain that kind of growth. And so we decided, we meaning the faculty and the staff and administrators, about 2.5 years ago developed an enrollment management plan that essentially capped that enrollment to about 3%, around 600 students. And so with that strategic direction, we're able to kind of manage with the limited resources. But even doing that, we of course increase enrollment and develop a partnership with Motlow to send students who were not quite prepared for MTSU to go to Motlow. And you perhaps have heard, and those who've kept up in the news have seen where the Motlow Center in Smyrna has grown significantly in the last couple of years. And that was a direct result of some of the decisions we made at MTSU. So we're now 22,300. We are the largest undergraduate university in the state of Tennessee. And while that number is significant, I would say that if we had not capped the enrollment, we perhaps could have been last fall around 25,000 students.
That's a full campus. Now, do you see raising the entrance criteria anymore in the future?
That is something that we have not ruled out. Clearly, we are the only university that have raised the admission standards twice in the last 7 years. We have the good problem of having too many students who wish to enroll at our university. It is with mixed feelings, of course, that we do that, frankly, because as a public university, we feel we have an obligation to educate the average Tennessean. We don't believe in this being an elitist institution, but at the same time, with the resource problems that we have, we just cannot continue to grow in an uncontrolled way. And we felt that we did not want to compromise the quality of the education that we're offering our students.
Well, we're now going to go to our first email question. And it is, how is the new Tennessee's Best ad campaign developed, and do you think it will attract more new students to MTSU?
Yes, I think so. It was developed after a great deal of consideration by the university, a lot of feedback from our faculty, from staff, a lot of focus groups. This is a targeted campaign. It is not an open campaign for students. We are focusing on our target group, which is really Tennessee's best and brightest. We continue to hold the title of being the institution of choice for Tennessee's valedictorians and salutatorians. We've made significant progress the last 2 years in attracting National Merit Scholars, finalists, and National Achievement finalists at our university. And so we clearly don't have an open admissions policy, so it's not come one, come all. We are focusing significantly on those students who have what we call our guaranteed admission, at least a minimum of a 22 on the ACT and a 3.0 GPA, but particular focus is really on those students who have 25, 26 on the ACT. Now, that doesn't mean we're not interested in students who have a 23 or 22 or perhaps a 21 and a 3.5 GPA. We believe we can pursue a dual role of excellence, focusing on the top students, but at the same time not neglecting students who can benefit from the education that we offer at MTSU.
We're now going to take a question from the audience. Laura Roberts.
Thanks, Ashley. Well, I'm here in the audience with Linda Pritchard, an instructional specialist for Rutherford County Schools. Linda, you had a question for our president?
Yes. President Mcphee, I know that you've been working closely with some of our K-12 administrators, and we cooperate on a lot of things together. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the ways that you and your staff are working on improving the teacher education program?
Yes, very good question. And indeed, we have been working both with the Rutherford County school system and the Murfreesboro City school system in figuring out a way together. And Laura, I might add that we have actually sat down with teachers in the schools and have had an opportunity to ask them how we can help. We did not take a big brother or big sister approach in telling the teachers that we know what they need and we're going to show them how best to do it. The good thing is that majority of the teachers who are in the school system are graduate of MTSU. We believe, particularly in some of the situations, particularly with the Central Middle School that we've just signed an agreement with the Rutherford County School on, they're dealing with some issues regarding No Child Left Behind. We have a number of faculty members who have some expertise in dealing with students with special needs. We feel that our expertise in the area of mentoring students, dealing with foreign languages, which is a need for that school, tutorial programs, and really focusing on faculty development to help address some of those issues at Central Middle. We have also talked about a series of initiatives with Murfreesboro City Schools, very much model along the lines of what we're doing with Campus School. Campus School really is a model school. We have experienced significant positive results with academic achievement of those students. We provide good collaboration between faculty at MTSU and the teachers, and we feel that we can use that model in helping to address some of the issues that the county and the city are dealing with. The bottom line is we feel that in addition to the research and all the other activities we do at the university, we should be a part of the solution in K through 12. And since we are responsible for educating and training those teachers, we felt we need to put ourselves in their position, work with them, and try to address some of those problems. And I'm looking forward to some very positive result with that initiative.
Now, not only has the university been searching for a new athletic director, but we've also been looking for a new honors dean for the Honors College and a new journalism director.
That's correct.
What's the status of those searches?
My understanding on the journalism, the director of our School of Journalism, which is one of the best schools in the country, and I'm very proud of the achievements and the excellence in that school, we have made an offer to a candidate, and it is my understanding that we should be finalizing that process in the very, very near future. With regards to the Dean of the Honors College, we have been interviewing candidates the last week to 10 days. I know I visited face-to-face with 2 candidates and did a conference call with one, and I suspect we'll be making some decisions very shortly. The provost is managing both of those search with their respective committees and the deans. And of course, everyone knows that we've completed the search for our new director of athletics. That person is Chris Massaro from the University of South Carolina, and he will officially begin his duty May 1st. However, with the departure of our Lady Raiders basketball coach, Stephanie Smith, he's actually getting an early start in trying to help us replace Stephanie Smith. So he's working as we speak.
Well, those are both issues we definitely want to touch on later on in the program. Yes. Right now, we're going to move to a man on the street question for you, Dr. Mcphee.
My name is Brian Riddle, and I am a recording industry major. My question is, I pay for my own tuition out of pocket, so why should tuition go up 8 to 10% every year when I'm getting the same education that I got the previous year?
That is always an issue that we have to deal with, not only in the state of Tennessee, but across the country. I think if you look at the average increase in tuition across the nation, we all, unfortunately, have to deal with the increased tuition. It has to do with the cost of providing an education. Of course, if you know, I guess we all understand that with inflation, everything goes up. The cost of lighting the campus, the cost of making sure that we retain faculty, and when you manage that, the needs of the campus with the support that we receive from the state, there's a significant disparity between that need, the need being met by the state, and the ability for us to operate the campus. For an example, each year, the cost of utilities go up significantly, the cost of insurance, health insurance for employees, the cost for us to retain faculty members. And 10, 15 years ago, the state was supporting the university at 60-40. 60% of the cost of an education was supported by the state through appropriation, and the student picked up 40%. Well, 10 years later, as we speak now, that has reversed because of the growing cost of TennCare and prisons and other needs, and also the economy. Those support that we receive from the state has decreased significantly. However, the cost of operating and providing a high quality education has not decreased. It has gone up. And so in order for us to maintain a level of quality and standard, we had to address this issue through tuition. I am very much concerned about the double-digit increase in tuition, but the alternative is something that I don't think any of us want to resort to.
Now, we talked a little bit about one of the premier programs at MTSU, the journalism program. Another premier program is concrete management. I think a lot of people overlook that. How is this program developed, and how does it compare to the rest of the nation?
Our concrete industry management program is one of the unique academic programs that you'll find around the country. And MTSU really has developed a knack as an institution for developing unique academic programs. Our aerospace program, our recording industry program, our University Honors College. We were one of the first institutions to develop an honors college and then to develop a facility. The concrete, and when you normally talk to people about this concrete industry program, they say concrete, and there are a lot of snickers, but in reality, it is one of the most innovative programs working with the industry, the concrete industry, that you'll find on a university campus. That program started with about 6 to 12 students about 4 or 5 years ago. Now they have about 300 majors. The students who graduate in that program now average about $48,000 a year in salary, starting salaries. I have been very much involved with working with the industry. They support our program in significant ways, and I just came from a meeting about a month ago with the industry leaders, in which schools like Arizona State and other major universities are looking at replicating the program and using MTSU as a model. And so it's one of those unique programs that we have been fortunate to develop a very good working relationship with the concrete industry professionals. They're very much involved in managing, teaching, and developing the program with our faculty. And those individuals who are in that program will tell you it is not a cupcake major, far from it.
Now I have to ask, have you poured any concrete on campus recently?
No, I haven't, but hopefully we will have some opportunities to do that as we construct new buildings, and perhaps we'll have an opportunity to do that.
Well, we're now going to go back to the audience to Laura for another question.
And we are here with Jason Hooper, who is the Speaker of the Senate for SJ, also our Vice President. Jason, you had a question for Dr. McPhee?
Yes, I would first like just to thank Dr. McPhee for giving his time to answer questions concerning the student body and the local community. This past semester, the student government conducted a student feedback project, and one of the students' body's main concerns was the selection process for national holidays in which the university is closed. I would just like to ask you to explain the process in which TBR takes to select these national holidays.
National holidays, of course, are connected a good bit with some of the mandated federal holidays. Not all, because some of the federal holidays, for example, the President's Day, we don't observe. But the Board of Regents work with the state. We are a state agency through our the Human Resources Department at the Tennessee Board of Regents in determining the number and the types of holidays that our universities are to observe. There is very little flexibility on the part of the campuses in changing those recommendations that come from the state through the Board of Regents to the institution. I do know that there's been an issue concerning the Good Friday holiday this year. The holidays were determined as a result of the new changes in the academic calendar. In fact, I met with a group of students just this afternoon, about 25 students who were part of a group that read the book, The 5 People You'll Meet in Heaven, and we were supposed to be discussing the book, but obviously when folks have access to the president, other issues come up, and that holiday come up about the semester and why has the semester been shortened in terms of weeks and the number of minutes in the classes extended. That all has to do with that calendar that the Board of Regents has developed. Prior to last year, each institution basically had to follow that national holiday calendar, but we had an opportunity to determine our semester and the calendar as it relates to the number of weeks. We have now gone to, by mandate of our Board of Regents, to a system-wide academic calendar that dictates the number of weeks in the semester, the length of class time, and the actual holidays we are to observe. And so there's very little flexibility there. So to answer your question, Jason, the state is involved in determining those holidays. It's communicated to the Board of Regents and then sent down to the campuses.
Well, I have to say, as a freshman, that's all I know, and it seems to be working pretty well so far. But school holidays are important. Everyone wants to know when they don't have to go to class. But on a more academic note, MTSU is very proud of the Honors College, and we've talked about it several times in this segment already. But what really makes it stand out in comparison to our other programs?
I think the size of the classes. We average, our class size average about, for the university, 24 to 25 average student faculty ratio. For our honors classes, we like to keep that around 15. In some cases, less than that. Secondly, faculty members go through a very rigorous interview process and a selection process to teach in the honors program. And of course, I think when you look at the facilities that we have now with the construction of that $5+ million facility, it provides state-of-the-art environment, both lab classes, office space, lounge space, library, you name it, for our students. And typically the students who are in our honors program understand that the demands are much greater and the expectation of their performance. And so it provides the opportunity in a large university of 20,000, 22,000 plus students to have a small environment, liberal arts environment that really provides a greater focus on academic excellence that you typically would find at a private institution. And so we have gotten a tremendous feedback from our students with respect to that program. The Newsweek magazine a few years ago rated the honors program and the courses and the experience that of a private Ivy League institution, some of the best in the country. And so that's a model that we think is working, and we want to continue to build on that.
At a much better price, I might add.
At a much reasonable price. I don't like to refer to the cost of our education as being cheap, because that gives a very negative connotation. But certainly when you look at the cost of education at MTSU, tuition fees now are about $4,000. And you compare that, if you are a RIM major, with going to a private institution and looking at the quality of both programs, comparable or even better in some cases, you can see the value that you're getting by coming to MTSU.
Well, on that note, we are going to take a short break, but we will return in a moment to discuss athletics and the new appointment of athletic director with Dr. Mcphee. Remember to call in your questions at 1-877-596-0080 or email them to us at closeup@mtsu.edu.
Things can get pretty ugly when you're bored. In an after-school program, you can find something way better to do.
Daddy, why is the sky blue?
Well, to match your pretty eyes.
Nope, not even close. See, all colors have wavelengths that are diffused by oxygen and nitrogen. Since blue is the shortest wavelength, it's diffused up to 10 times more.
Who taught you that?
Mommy?
By age 12, too many girls lose interest in math and science and their chance at future jobs. Keep her interest alive.
Know why mathematics is the basis of life as we know it?
You tell me.
It's her future. Do the math.
Excuse me. I've been getting mixed messages about women and violence. I need a little clarification.
Uncle Bill, how am I supposed to grow up to respect women when I have such lousy role models?
Boys are never going to approach you.
Can you help me reshape my attitudes towards women?
You need to teach them that violence against women is wrong.
The itsy bitsy spider went up the went up the.
Get proper nutrition before it's too late.
I forget.
Call or visit WIC. WIC provides nutrition information, healthcare referrals, even food. Your child has you, and you have WIC.
Well, we're back with Dr. Mcphee to discuss the ever-popular topic of athletics. Now, Dr. Mcphee, recently, as you mentioned earlier, you appointed a new athletic director. Who have you appointed, and how was the decision made?
The person appointed to this position is Chris Massaro. He is the senior athletic director, senior associate athletic director at the University of South Carolina. He spent 20 years in that position. He has been very active nationally. In fact, he serves as the executive director of the institute that trains athletic directors across the country. He's had the experience in working in various aspects of athletic administration, from marketing to the business office to ticketing to fundraising to a whole array of activities. I think Chris is a good fit for our university. I think he will come in and help us to move our athletic department to the next level and allow us to compete and really deal with some of the issues we're addressing at the university, along with the coaches and the staff and our community supporters.
Well, we're now going to move to an email question because I know the community has lots of feedback on this. It is, what does this announcement of the new athletic director mean for MTSU, and will there be any major changes in the near future?
Let me deal with the question about changes. I think any new executive that comes in will have an opportunity to assess and determine the direction of that particular department. I don't want to speak for Chris, but I will tell you that we have a pretty well founded and foundation in terms of our athletic department. I think there needs to be some tweaking of how we go about doing some of the work in that department, and clearly there are some areas we need to improve on, and I'm sure Mr. Massaro will work with the appropriate staff in making sure that those things are done. I think our fans can expect a great deal of excitement, leadership, vision, and a great deal of activities coming out of our athletic department as a result of this hire. We have been blessed in having some good people, coaches and athletic administration folks, but the requirements of the Ncaa over the past 5 years with regards to collegiate athletics really demands that we be ahead of the curve, and I think Chris Massaro will help our university in that regard.
Now, several of the candidates for this position spoke of specific athletic plans. Do you foresee a new athletic plan in the future?
I think you will see a new strategic direction for the athletic department that will build on the previous accomplishments. But I think you can expect to see more assertive activities in our marketing, our fundraising. Clearly, regardless of what happens to the Ncaa on the 15,000 attendance for football, we expect 30,000 in our stadium. We have missed that goal last year. We've been struggling, and it's a combination of what we do and what we don't do. I think our fans should expect to see some new ideas with respect to what we do and how we go about not only just football, but women's basketball, men's basketball. I go to our baseball. We have an unbelievable baseball program. Great sports here at this university that our fans and this community ought to be taking advantage of. And we're blaming ourselves at this point. We're saying we're not doing enough to get the word out and to get people to want to come. You have to win, of course, but in addition to winning, you have to make it an event that people want to be a part of, and I think you'll see a good bit of activities and a strategic plan for us to get there.
Now we're going to move to a man on the street question for you, Dr. Mcphee.
Recent report coming out talking about the graduation rate of athletes and specifically the football team. How much of a factor was making sure that the athletes graduate in picking a new athletic director? I wanted to know if that was something that was discussed with the candidates, or if that's something that was on your mind but that you didn't specifically talk about with them. I want to know how much that was a factor.
Let me assure you that it was a major factor. Without making any excuses, I think whatever measure we use, and I do want our fans to know that I was very much involved in determining the policy as a member of the Ncaa Board of Directors of the new, what we call the APR, Academic Progress Rate. And it's not just limited to graduating in terms of athletes. It has to do with retention and whether an athlete stays in the program. And each school gets 2 points, 1 point for a student being retained and 1 point if they graduate. I think it's also important to know that our graduation rate for our student athletes is much higher than that of our university. And so, and that's the case for universities across the country. Our graduation rate for athletes is, for total athletes at the university, is about 49, close to 50%. For our student body, it's 43%. And so both of those numbers are not satisfactory, and we're working very hard to increase that. While our football team got a lot of, and deservedly, negative public relations and press on the number, I do want to say that our baseball team, unlike many baseball teams around the country, had one of the highest scores in the nation. That our track and field program is struggling a bit, but our golf program got a perfect score. That our men's basketball program, our women's basketball program, our tennis programs all got very, very high scores. Football is a problem with regards to that issue. And I've made it very clear to the candidates and now to Chris Massaro that we have to correct that. We will correct it. It will take a while for us to turn that around, but let me assure our fans and our students and our supporters that this is something that we take very seriously and it's going to be addressed.
Now, as you just mentioned, you serve on the board of directors for the NCAA. What does that role mean for MTSU?
It means that this university has a place at the table with colleagues from around the country. There are only 18 members on that board, and from that 18, only 11 of those members have a full-time permanent 5-year appointment. And I'm one of those 11 members that have a 5-year appointment. The board makes policy decisions regarding the NCAA. In the past, prior to this new structure, the athletic directors, particularly in the major conferences, determined the policy decision and really had a control of what was going on in the NCAA. With the appointment of Dr. Miles Brand, who was the president of Indiana University, he's now the president of the NCAA, he's in his second year, actually his third year, there's been a shift in the presidents of the university taking control of the NCAA. That board makes the final decision on policy matters. So I sit with the president of the University of Michigan, Mary Sue Coleman. I sit at the table with the president of Georgia Tech, who represent the ACC. I sit at the table with the president of Tulane University, Scott Cowan, who represent Conference USA, or John White, who represent the University of Arkansas and the SEC. MTSU is at the table making major decisions and participating in major decisions affecting student athletes in the nation.
Well, we're now going to take another short break, but I'd like to remind everyone you can call in your questions at 1-877-596-0080, or you can email them to us at closeup@mtsu.edu. Stay tuned. We'll be speaking with Ms. Ginger Corley, Director of Alumni Relations.
Hear the one about the mom and the mechanic? They made a big splash running a car wash. See, the local PTA, an auto body shop, and their community coalition organized car washes, raising money to expand after-school programs. They knew keeping kids busy keeps them away from drugs. So now the town's got clean cars and clean kids. What can your group do? Contact your community coalition at helpyourcommunity.org, because you get more
when you get together.
Did you do your homework? No. You want to copy mine? Nah, I'll do it at lunch.
Took a test this morning. Do you want the answers?
Nah, I handle it. Nah, it's okay. I don't need it.
Do the work, take the test, make the call yourself. Listen to the ref in your head.
cheating is a personal foul.
There's the whole week. There's the whole week. Hey, excuse me?
Excuse me, sir. Something wrong?
Yeah, there's something wrong. You want to get me some whole wheat? Oh, come on. Hey, hey, amigo. Hey, I asked you for whole wheat bread. This is not what I wanted. El Wheato.
Sorry for the confusion.
You know, that's the problem with these people. If you want to serve Americans, you got to learn to speak the language. You know what I'm saying?
No, sir. I don't. Enjoy your lunch.
Imagine the power of one voice. Click freedomcenter.org to find yours.
Well, we're back with Dr. Mcphee to discuss alumni relations, and joining him is Ms. Ginger Corley, Director of Alumni Relations. And I think this is a very important thing to discuss because a lot of people may not realize what all goes on in your office, and hopefully we won't be at the university forever and will eventually become alum. Now, what are the main goals of the Alumni Relations Office?
I think our main goal is to connect our alums back to the university, whether they are in Middle Tennessee, whether they are in Korea, or whether they're in California, that we find a way to connect them back to the university and make them continue to feel that they're a part of the university even though they're not here.
Now, do students need to register with your office when they graduate, or are they automatically signed up?
They're automatically signed up. We are not a dues-paying association. Once you graduate, you are a part of the MTSU Alumni Association. One of the services that we do provide for graduating seniors is a mini diploma program. You fill out a form online at our website and get a small pocket-size, wallet-size diploma, and then that gives them one more way to connect back to us. We get correct information on them as they graduate as to where they're going to work, where they're going to be living, so that automatically gets them into the Alumni Association.
And real fast, but what is your website?
www.mtalumni.com.
Now we're going to move to an email question,
Okay.
excuse me. What scholarships does the Alumni Chapter offer, and how can students apply for them?
Okay. Actually, we have different scholarships with different chapters. Rutherford County currently has one, Franklin County, Lincoln County, which we were just there last night. So several counties currently offer scholarships. We're working with other counties to increase those. In the past, Davidson County has had one. So we're trying to get back into some counties to increase those. So the best way to check is through our website, and they can go directly there to check on scholarships as well.
Now, what is the Horseshoe Project?
The Horseshoe Project was created by our student ambassadors, which we have 15 that are chosen each year. And this year's group chose, they wanted to do something that they were able to give back to the university. And they were looking for something to start as a tradition. We are currently, of course, working on creating traditions on campus, and they were looking at this as a good way to create that. Many schools have something, a rock, that you rub for good luck as you go to the game or you go to take a test. This was something they wanted to do, to one, with the concrete, to connect back to the concrete industry program that you were talking about earlier, and then of course lightning and creating the horseshoe, and then of course we're right in the middle of Tennessee walking horse country, so it gave us an opportunity to culminate all of that together. Hopefully that will go up in Walnut Grove so that we can coordinate that with game day activities and tailgating, but then that will also give us the opportunity to have students that walk by, going by Peck Hall on their way to the KUC, and rub it for good luck when they go to take a test.
I wish we'd had it tonight. I might have visited on my way to the studio. We're now going to go to a man on the street question for y'all.
Career Coordinator for the College of Business and the Career and Employment Center. My question for President Mcphee is, President Mcphee, could you please elaborate on any plans or ideas for collaboration with area businesses in Murfreesboro that would entice our students who are graduating from MTSU to hang around here for employment and career options versus returning to their hometowns?
That is really a very good question. I'm very involved with the Chamber of Commerce, the Rutherford County Chamber of Commerce, and we discuss just about every meeting the role of the university in supporting economic development. And of course, members of that board include business representatives across our area, our region, not just Murfreesboro, but Rutherford County. When we developed our academic master plan about 3 years ago, we had a representative from the chamber, and we also had a representative from the Industrial Development Board. And one of the questions we asked those individuals to give us feedback on, what were the needs of this community as it relates to future jobs, and how can our university develop academic programs to address those needs? And rather than developing what I call the esoteric degrees that are not connected to economic development needs, we're able to create a plan after getting feedback from our business representative about those programs. And so you see now a degree that was just recently approved by our Board of Regents in a Master's in Professional Sciences, focusing on nursing informatics, biotechnology. You see a degree, a new PhD program in public history, deals with preparing museum directors and things of that sort. And so we hope that students, and there are other examples that I can go. The concrete industry management program is a great degree, a good example. Just recently, our Board of Regents approved a new degree in construction management. And these are programs that students can pursue that once they graduate, there are needs in the community that allow them to stay in Rutherford County, in Middle Tennessee, in the state of Tennessee, that help in these areas.
Well, I believe Laura now has an audience question for us. So let's hear their thoughts.
That's right, we do. I am here with Congressman Doug Young, who is also an alumni member at MTSU. Congressman?
Well, thank you. I'm not a congressman, I'm a city councilman, but I need to correct that because one of our alumni is our congressman, Representative Gordon. But what the question I would have for you, Dr. Mcphee, is what are we doing to bring the alumni back to campus for special events and athletics, especially with our large Davidson County base of alumni?
And hopefully Ginger will be able to help me with that too. We've hired her just recently to generate more interest in that area. I do think some of the activities that Ginger mentioned earlier in her conversation with Ashley with regards to some of the ideas with changing, for example, providing a great opportunity for tailgating. We've experimented just 2 years ago with opening the area between Peck Hall and Cope, and that area is now called the Grove. And we're doing activities like that along with providing, particularly Councilman Young, opportunities for travel programs during the fall. A couple of years ago we had just a wonderful turnout of our alums for games that we played in Alabama, when we played Kentucky, when we played Tennessee, and we're doing activities like that that would lead up to the game, so they're not just coming back for a game, but they have an opportunity to interact with their classmates from yesteryears, to get a feel for our campus. We've done some things with the Frisk Museum in Nashville, just a whole series of activities during football weekends that will attract our alums back to our campus for not only the athletic activities but also some of the social and cultural events. Ginger, I'm sure there's some other plans that we have and that you're thinking about with your staff. You might want to comment on.
We're currently trying to find ways to get people to realize this is where they need to be on a Saturday, or they need to be on Friday. We want them to realize this is the greatest place to be. You don't want to be anywhere else. And we're taking suggestions from other people. We've done surveys. We're looking at different things that people like to do. We don't want it to just be around an athletic event, or we want to be able to create something with the arts. So we want to have different things that people can do. So far we're getting out into the areas and looking for things that draw them back. We've gone into areas that we haven't been in a while. We haven't been in Davidson County in a while. We've got to make that touch with those people and let them know we care so that they will want to come back. So a lot of the activities are revolving around that. We also have a new location that we're going to be moving into on Tennessee Boulevard. So we hope that will be something that will entice some of our alumni to come back because it'll be easier access and visibility for them to be able to get to us and come in and visit with us.
I'd also like to add that we are, by the way, that Tennessee Boulevard, the middle of this month, will be renamed Middle Tennessee Boulevard. And we are doing other things like just this past Friday, having major acts and artists on our campus. The Cosby production and show last Friday evening was a super example of some of the things we're trying to do to get our alums back to campus. And from everything that I've heard, it's been a resounding success. We had alums traveling all throughout the Middle Tennessee for that. It was pretty much a near sold out event. And once we get them on campus and they see the activity and the life, we hope that they'll come back again, and again. And so you should expect Councilman Young to see more of those kinds of activities.
Now, I know we were talking about activities other than sports, but let's talk about homecoming for a minute. I think students forget that homecoming is about the alumni, as you pointed out earlier. Just tell me about how alumni can get involved and how you need their support during those celebrations.
Right. You know, and it is about the students and our alumni. They just forget that homecoming is about the people who are coming back. And that's what we want to make sure that our assistant director that works with the homecoming director, that we're able to coordinate activities together, that the students have the opportunity to meet our alumni. Those are the people that fortunately will hopefully hire them when they begin to graduate, and they can make some of those connections. So we hope that the students will realize the importance of including our alumni in some of the activities, and we try to coordinate that with the parade, and hopefully as we go along, we'll be able to find other ways that we can connect back with them, and the students and the alums can work together and at least have the opportunity, because we have so many alums that come back who haven't been on campus in 10 years, and it gives them the opportunity to see what the current student looks like, because it was much different when they were here.
Well, we're now going to take a short break, and I'd like to thank you very much for being here tonight with us, Ms. Corley, and we'll be back for our final segment on renovations on campus.
The greatest source of America's generosity is the good heart of the people.
In the aftermath of the devastating tsunami, we come to you not as presidents, but as two private citizens.
Everyone can help, and every dollar contributed will impact someone's life. So visit usafreedomcorps.gov to choose a reputable, authorized charity to accept your donations directly.
No one can change what happened,
but we can all change what happens next.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mom?
Dad?
How long should I wait for you? Mom?
If I'm at soccer practice.
What if something happens? Will you come get me?
There's no reason not to have a plan in case of a terrorist attack.
Mom, if you're not home, should we go to the neighbor's house?
And some extremely good reasons why you should.
Can you tell me?
Talk to your family about what you would do in case of an emergency. For more information, go to www.ready.gov.
I'm back to show how people pollute Tennessee's water. Like this dipstick who should be taking used oil to the recycling center. Those suds straight to the river. Guess she thinks soap will clean the fish. And talk about chemical warfare. Think you can even read the instructions? Come on, people. What goes in this drain goes directly to our streams. It pollutes, hurts wildlife, and raises your water bill. Water pollution, it's not the other guy's problem, it's yours.
Well, we're back with Dr. Mcphee to discuss some renovations on campus. Now, the Todd building is being renovated in order to house the art department. When is the building going to be fully functional, and what's being done with the former art barn?
Well, the Todd building renovation is completed. Classes began this past spring. It is 99.9% functional. Now, maybe if you ask some of the art faculty, they might say it's not exactly 99%, but I have visited the facility. We had an official dedication a couple of weeks ago, and in fact, we are moving the Gore Center from the learning resource area to that building, and the dedication is next week, Friday. And so I think we have completed that $9 million plus renovation of Todd Hall, which is now the house of the art department. And I think if you drive by where the old art barn was, it's no longer is there because the demolition occurred last week. And I understand that just yesterday, the two silos, which were major markers, are also down.
Now, is the rec center also in line for some renovations?
Yes, we are in the process of beginning this summer. Groundbreaking and the construction will commence this summer for an expansion of our rec center. It's about a $23–25 million expansion of our recreation center. It will cause some convenience because we'll be using a good bit of the parking as part of that construction, but it will be worthwhile. Sometimes I'm not doing as much as I can, and I should, but I do go over there, and I notice that there is a significant need for that expansion. We're also going to include, as part of that expansion, new space for the Health Sciences Health Center for our doctors, our nurse, and that will be a new facility as part of that expansion.
Now, you've mentioned before that your plan is to make the nursing school a top 5 program.
That's correct.
And this has been the plan for several years. What changes are being made to reach this goal?
We've been very successful in our fundraising efforts. Over the past 2 years, we have raised over $5 million in private funds. I might add, not a dime from the state. That is all private dollars through the good generosity of the Christy Houston Foundation, a local foundation that have been very, very generous to our university, and also support from senators and Congress folks in Washington, D.C. Between those groups of individuals and agencies, we have raised about $5 million, and I've just completed a review of the building specifications in this summer. We'll also be beginning the construction of an addition, a 30,000 square feet addition to our nursing school, and that will begin this summer also.
Now, we recently purchased the Baptist Church across the street from campus. What is being done with this building and the area?
Yes, we've purchased formerly the Middle Tennessee Baptist Church, formerly the Church of Christ. building, and of course some of our students would be happy. They not would be happy, they are happy because it has produced additional parking. I'm surprised I didn't get a parking question on this show. I typically get a question about parking. In addition to the parking, it has provided additional space. We're working on getting ready for offices such as some functions within the registrar's office, graduate school. A number of departments are going to move over there. We've also purchased the house, the parsonage next door, and next to that we've purchased just recently the Buckner Home, which was a bed and breakfast, and that will be the new home for our alumni office. It's what we call our alumni house. The parking is much more better there for our alums when they come and visit our campus. They will have opportunities to sit down and reminisce and have a cup of coffee and really enjoy coming back to our campus. So as you can see, there's quite a bit of activities going on. I'm sure you're going to mention, but we have time.
I'm afraid we're out of time, Dr. McPhee.
$70 million renovation of our residence hall.
That is wonderful, especially since I do live in the dorms. But on that note, I'm afraid we're going to have to leave you tonight. Thank you for joining us for this edition of Close Up. We appreciate your questions. We hope we've answered them all. Y'all have a wonderful evening. Thank you again, Dr. McPhee.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I apologize for